want to thank everybody for tuning in, whether you're part of our live recording guests that are here for this intimate private recording, or you're watching us live on any of our platforms, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, the usual. I want to thank you all for tuning in to this, to what we believe is going to be a very impactful evening, where we're here to discuss. We're here to do a couple of different things. As you see, I have two of my good buddies here. My name is Mitchell Backus. First and foremost, I am a member of the Long Island Gaming League, where we're the premier gaming esports company out here in Long Island. We do a lot of amazing events, what we like to call unique gaming events, which is actually what we're here today, tonight, this evening to do. So we do events all throughout Long Island, and in that we had the distinct pleasure to partner with our good friend Mr. X from the Mr. X Stock Market Academy. As you can see, his information is there. So, Mr. X, I don't know if you want to give a quick, brief introduction of who you are, what you're about, and toss it back over, and we'll go ahead and get this evening started.
Yeah, definitely. As Mitchell mentioned, my name is Mr. X. I'm the founder of the Mr. X Stock Market Academy. We're a stock market educational company focused on teaching um, individuals, families, and communities, how to build wealth in the stock market in a safe and an efficient way. So we do a number of trainings, for individuals, young adults, community organizations, churches, fraternities, etc. And as Mitchell mentioned, we've partnered together to actually bring stock market to the world of gaming, or vice versa. Yeah, so definitely we thank you for registering and tuning in, and hopefully you get a lot of value out of what we will be talking about this evening.
All right, appreciate that, Mr. X. And as you can see, we have another gentleman here wearing the amazing Long Island Gaming League paraphernalia, and he's going to be joining us this evening. Happens to be the owner of the Long Island Gaming League, so Mr. Dennis Buchanan, sir. Introduce yourself. Let the people know who you are, what you're about.
Hey, everybody. This is Dennis from the Long Island Gaming League. It's a pleasure to be here connecting with Mr. X and Mitchell, as always, and definitely our guests who are tuning in and those who are going to tune in. Hopefully, today, what we go over, you'll learn a lot about esports, but just not from a gaming perspective, but more of an educational perspective, as well as stocks and how, ironically, the two blend together. So I'm happy to be on the show and to give you some insight about what the Long Island Gaming League is all about and my journey with getting into the gaming league since 2019, focused on esports and education.
All right, so as you heard from the two gentlemen here this evening, they both come from different backgrounds, right? But we're here to accomplish two amazing things. Mr. X being somebody that has had a lot of success, very vast in knowledge within the stock market. We've partnered with him, where we have an amazing course called um, Stock Market Investing for Young Gamers, and we also have Mr. Dennis Buchanan here, who's actually has not one but several books that are out. But today we're going to talk about his book. Yeah, there you go. Hey, there you go.
I'm gonna get it at some
There
point.
you go.
It'll be in this.
There it is, right
Right
there,
there, right
right there,
there.
right there. Yeah.
The esports millionaire mindset. So we have these two different bodies of work that we put together, and in that we're going to use those to pretty much facilitate a conversation and a dialogue, what we like to call optimizing the gaming industry. So we're going to kick that off, and Dennis is going to be utilizing excerpts from his book, and Mr. X is going to pretty much be talking about different things that are involved in his course, along with stuff that he's done in his own career, and we're gonna blend that all together to have an amazing night. So hopefully you enjoy it. Hopefully you get some insight. Because here's what I'll say. I say that for those that have never really took a look at the esports industry, right? There's a home for everybody here. So whether you're a professional, whether you're a business owner, whether you're a student, Whoever you are, there's space for you in this industry that can help you to propel the current position or profession that you're in, or create a new one. So hopefully, from what these gentlemen are going to share, it's going to help us to kind of get the ball rolling and give you some perspective. And maybe you'll purchase the book. Maybe you'll go ahead and and register for the course and get you could dive a little bit deeper. So go ahead. Let's go ahead and get the ball rolling, fellas. All right. So let's where should we begin? Right. Let's talk about it. We have the esports industry. It's exploding right now. Right. We've had an opportunity to participate. Over the last 5 to several years. Right. And we've seen some stuff. So I guess if anything, Dennis, since you're in the game, I know Mr. X always says I don't play games, but I'll invest in a stock that incorporates gaming. Dennis, you kick us off, and then we can follow up with Mr. X. Tell us what's going on with the industry, your site, your perspective, and let's go from there.
Yeah. So first things first, I want to give you guys some real information. If you don't know, the esports industry is currently $1 billion industry and growing. If you're not also aware that there are colleges, a lot of the major colleges you have heard of, you are aware of, Yale, Harvard, Florida State, even colleges here on Long Island are offering esports scholarships. That's right, they're offering scholarships to gamers. So now you can go to school on a scholarship, and that's a lot of information that is not often talked about. A lot of parents don't know about that. So, in terms of the industry and exploring it, there's a lot more to gaming than beats the eyes. And what we're hoping to do is to, or at least myself, is to change that view perspective. And just with knowing those two simple things, if you're a movie fan, if you're into music, it really doesn't matter. There's a pathway through gaming, and we're hoping that more students, more parents really understand that. Don't look at this as just something to bypass time, but look at it as a real career opportunity, because everything we do and probably our current jobs, you're an accountant, you're a graphic designer, you're a social worker, you're a consultant, all those positions exist in the esports realm. They're just going untapped, and nobody's really focusing in on that. So I'm hoping that throughout this conversation, I'll be able to enlighten you about a lot of the different things, give you real specific tips to help you become more efficient in the gaming world as far as wealth building.
So you raised a really good point, Dennis, and that point deals with the idea of the word I heard opportunity, right? A lot of opportunities that are available, a lot of opportunities that no matter where you're at, we like to say, as young as a high school or even a junior high school student, all the way to being in your late 40s, there is opportunity that everybody can take advantage of. One being, and this, Mr. X, this is where you could come in and you could touch base on this. The idea of what we like to say leveraging the market, right? Dennis, you mentioned going to school, right? The opportunity of being able to get a scholarship, but I think it'd be even greater if you can walk into school with a scholarship and some money in your pocket, right? So, Mr. X, talk to the people about how they can leverage while they're going ahead and getting that scholarship for esports, what they can do to leverage the market that can prepare them for that moment in time.
What I would say is um, start investing, in these games that you love to play, you know, and start to generate some money coming back to you, you know, so that you can, now enter into college with that cash that you just mentioned, Mitchell. But first, you got to really get the knowledge, just like anything, right? You got to kind of learn about, the stock market, how it works, different things that happen in the economy that affect the stock market, such as like the interest rates, that we pay, on various things that we buy, they affect the stock market, So really start to learn about the stock market and how it works. And with the course that we put together, it takes you from a novice, or even if you're a little bit more experienced, to know how to evaluate these gaming companies, right? Because all of these gaming companies are not necessarily equal, right? Some could be actually better than others, right? If you want to go the route of investing in individual gaming companies, in the stock market, or maybe you want to just put your money in one of the top ETFs, also known as exchange traded funds, if you don't want to kind of do the research. But whatever your strategy is, um, you're giving yourself an opportunity to make money while you're playing these games, so that these companies that are selling you these games, or selling your parents these games, or excuse me, these games that your parents are buying for you, or your mentors, they're not just making money off of you, off of your leisure and your enjoyment, but you're making money off of them. And I look at it more of like kind of like revenue sharing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. That's a good point. Dennis, you want to add anything to that?
No, I mean, I think he kind of touched on the points. A lot of these companies that we do buy games from are, um, I guess I don't know. I wouldn't say open world because again, I'm not a stock market, but they are on the Dow or so to speak. But they are able to be invested in. I know Mr. X didn't mention it, but we all know Nintendo. Uh, Everybody's heard of Nintendo. It's been around for a very long time, or even Sony are two big companies, but they have stocks. And if you're a gamer and you play those games and you don't own in stocks, you're missing out on money. If you're a parent and you're buying those games for your child and they started playing video games at a young age, the same way you would buy them a controller or a video game, if you're going to buy them a game, buy them a stock. Eventually, it's going to pay for itself at the end of the day. So that's the only thing I really want to add to that is just giving clear two examples of companies that are familiar, whether you're a gamer or not a gamer, that have stock options for you to invest in.
No, I appreciate that, gentlemen. And I think both of you highlight two things that I heard. And the first thing is Mr. X, you said you got to learn. You got to learn about the industry. You got to figure out what's happening, what's going on. And I think, Dennis, the idea of opportunity, right? So you want to be a part of this opportunity. There's a lot of different sectors which we'll get into in a moment, but it's making that transition. We're so used and conditioned to those that are familiar with gaming, esports, the idea of gamification, and just everything that's going along with it, right? That we are so familiar with the being a consumer of the industry. Now we can tap into the market, we can get into these different careers and be a part of the producing of the industry. All right, so I think that's really important. So I'm gonna go to Mr. X first. Mr. X, let me ask you this: you talked about getting the knowledge, right? So after somebody goes ahead and they register for the stock market investing for young gamers course, uh, what is if they were you, like when you first started getting involved in your gaining of knowledge? What were some of the places that you went for information?
Uh, some of the places that I went to for information was um Yahoo Finance. you know, you know. I mean, people know Yahoo as a company where people, set up email accounts many years ago. I know a lot of people have, transitioned into, utilizing Google, for their email and other different needs. But Yahoo's still around. And one of the things that they're really known for is the web platform that they have, Yahoo Finance. So with Yahoo Finance, you can go there and you can type in the name of any gaming company that you want to potentially invest in, and they have a free version and they also have a paid version. But with the free version, you can get a very high level overview of any gaming company that you want to invest in, like a short bio description of products and services that they sell, all the key executives that work there, the current stock price, what the stock price, the high was, let's say, over the last 52 weeks, and what the low was. You could even see financial statements there that are free of charge. So that's that's one platform. Another platform is Macro Trends. Okay. where you can go there and you can get similar type of information, but it's just the way that the information is displayed in macro trends is a little different than Yahoo Finance. I actually like it because it's a little bit more cleaner, you know. But yeah, those are two platforms that people can go and get some information on the companies that they want to invest in particular, gaming companies.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
And Dennis, I appreciate that, Mr. X. And Dennis, so if I want to learn about the different sectors of gaming, being versed, understanding where the opportunities are, of course, I'm gonna get your book first.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Where do I go from there?
So where you could go from there is just to kind of, break it down. If you think about events, they have like PAX East, and that's a huge convention where a lot of gamers, a lot of game companies, sponsors, they all kind of go to gather to talk about what's going on in the industry. Just like we have our other conventions that we may go to, car conventions, book conventions. The PAX East is one of those places that exists in the gaming world to where you can go to get knowledge and information. And if you want to think about media, that's all over the place. So you have Twitch, you got YouTube, you got Kick. These are different media platforms that, again, more so being YouTube, that we're familiar with every day. But there's tons and tons of information, content, entertaining content on there where you can just go to these platforms and you can type in whatever game you may want to learn about or anything you want to know about the industry on a broader perspective, because gaming is not just here in the United States, it's a global entity. So when it comes to media, YouTube is a great platform. And if you also want to think about the tech, right? You think about Microsoft, you could think about Nvidia, right? There are big tech companies that are into this gaming world. If you go on Facebook now, you'll see that they got all these little mini games you can play. You got games on your phone. So gaming is infused into our technology that we use. And the biggest factor, the one where we at the Long Island Gaming League really decided to focus on, which also originally talked about, is the educational sector. So there's a lot of schools that are interested in gaming, right? But they don't know how to get into it. But a lot of colleges have dove head on into it. Well, like I said earlier, offering scholarships. So sometimes you can reach out to your local school district, or if you're part of a PTA, you can inquire if they have any gaming programs. Some of them may not. Some of them are looking to get going. But that's really the grassroots and the focus. And what we hope you take from this is just to realize that the educational part of the gaming world, just like in finance, is extremely important to the success you can have in either one of those industries.
There you go. There you go. I think that's really really two good perspectives. One, because like I said, while we're learning about the sectors, we're tapping into the resources, and we'll talk about resources in a second. But tapping into the resources, where seeing locally what's available, to learn about the opportunities. Right, we're at a point in time where there are certain institutions that are offering. We'll talk about higher levels, or higher education rather, where they're creating actual degrees in esports. Right, you can actually get an esports gaming degree, or something that is a spinoff of that, maybe the psychology of esports. So majors and minors, God bless you,
Thank you.
man. Majors and minors are being created based off the evolution of the industry. So there's a lot happening there. But while you're becoming knowledgeable about the industry, why not also build your portfolio with the industry, right? It doesn't mean you have to do one or the other, because Mr. X, we'll talk about this in a second, about say like day trading or the different ways to invest. But essentially, while you're learning, you also can earn on the back end as well too, which I think is really cool. So Mr. X, I'll hop over to you again, and pretty much we know that the the aspect of investing, when people say investing, it's very broad, right? I know you had mentioned learning how to research companies, but as you start to learn, and build a portfolio, right? As you're a young gamer, or a parent of a young gamer, as you always like to say, um, as you're building this portfolio, you realize there's different ways you can invest, right? So I guess, if anything, educate the people. Some people may not know this may be their first opportunity learning that, hey, listen, I can. It is actually not that hard to invest, right? What are the
Right.
different ways one can invest? Give us some of those.
Yeah, so some different ways that you could invest, in particular, let's say in the gaming industry, um, is you could invest in individual companies, individual gaming companies, right? And either buy like full shares, right? So for example, if the gaming company um stock price, let's say, is $50 a share, you can buy full shares, okay? Or if depending on your budget, you could even invest in a gaming company through fractional shares. Okay, but not all brokerage accounts, give you that option. So for example, if there's a gaming company and if their stock price per share, for some people, they may view it to be like, let's say, quite expensive, as an example, or maybe a little bit out of their budget. Let's say if the stock is one share, let's say, is $150. Somebody say, oh wow, it's going to take me a while to to get, let's say, 10 shares. I need $1,500, right? To get 10 shares at this time. Well, what you can do is you can just establish, let's say, a monthly budget, whatever that may be. If your budget is, let's say, $30 a month, you can invest $30 a month, fractional shares, in that company's stock that's currently trading at, let's say, $150 a share, or even if it's more than that. And as you continue to invest month after month, um, you will eventually get to a point where you will get one full share. Okay, so you will still have ownership, and if you keep doing it over time, you'll start to build up. So that's another way how you could invest, and some people refer to that as like dollar cost averaging, right? So like you invest in the same amount of money either on a weekly basis, a monthly basis, or let's say every 3 months. Okay. And that could be within individual gaming companies, okay, or individual stocks. But then you could also, but with the individual companies, though, the key thing with that is whether you're investing um, through purchasing full shares or fractional, you got to do your research on these companies, because at any minute, um, something happening in the company or some negative news that may come out could affect, the stock price of that company, right? So you really got to kind of stay on top of, is this company making money, every 3 months? Is their customer base growing, etc. Whereas, if you don't want to do all that kind of homework, but you still want to take advantage of investing in gaming companies, you could invest in maybe an ETF that has maybe, let's say, maybe 10 different gaming companies inside of it. And maybe it's like maybe 10 of the best gaming companies, right? Still invest monthly through your budget, whatever you have. Um, and then just, continue to just watch your money to grow, So that's another way that you could start to invest in gaming companies in the stock market.
No, it's good. That's good. Okay, good. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna throw this out to both of you because I think that it's very important. We're in a time where hear a lot of different podcasts, a lot of articles, watch CNN. A lot of people are becoming more financially conscious, right?
Yeah.
And when I say financially, just not even from the investment standpoint, but also from just I need to get to my money standpoint altogether.
Yeah. I need
I
to get
need
my
to get
money
to,
right.
as the young guys say, I need to get to the bag, right? So we're talking about the time that we're in, right? And both of you, the two of you, whoever wants to go first, go right ahead. The time that we're in, why is it important? Why would it be important? Well, I say, Mr. X, for you, why is it important for somebody to build a portfolio in these current days? And Dennis, for you, why is it important to really take a real close look at the industry that we're in, and why and how somebody should take advantage of it in the times that we're currently in? Whoever wants to go first, go
I'll
right
go
ahead.
first.
Yeah.
Why is it important for the now? It's important for the now because a lot of money is being put into the industry more so than it's ever been. clearly video games is not new, right? But we definitely weren't having podcasts or webinars or anything on it. But right now we are, and that's the quiet essentially before the storm of when this industry grows. Secretly, again, schools are implementing it, but that's not known by the masses because it's being built up. So right now is the perfect time to really pay attention to this industry as we become more technologically advanced, as we realize that the youth is engaging in a digital arena more so than they may be going outside or playing with friends, and that's not neither good nor bad. It's just the reality of the situation and how they're communicating, and it's their pastime. Our pastimes were hanging out with friends or throwing a football or falling out of a tree, right? Those are things that we used to do when we were younger. But the financials of falling out of a tree or, having fun with your friends really wasn't there. So the esports industry and the gaming industry, not only do they communicate with their friends, they play video games, but there are companies that are paying them to play video games. There are streamers who are making money playing these video games, and that's just on the outside. And as I said, this industry is slowly building up. It has to be produced by somebody. It has to be organized by somebody. It has to be run by somebody. So everybody now who might be working for a gaming company, and let's say they've been at this company for 20 years, 30 years, they're aging out. They're retiring. Who are the ones who are going to fulfill those positions? It's going to be the new age. It's going to be the younger kids. It's going to be the ones who grew up playing these video games, learning these video games. But if we're not taking the time to educate them about the opportunity that this is a job opportunity or a entrepreneurial opportunity, then we can essentially miss the boat. And what I always like to tell a lot of the students, a lot of the parents, and anybody I actually get the chance to talk to is if we knew the NFL was going to be what it is today, we might have acted a little bit differently in terms of getting involved into the NFL, the sport of football. We came in on the tail end. We came into where all the money was made, and then we were getting paid out. But we didn't have any ownership of that. The gaming industry right now in the states that it's at is that there's plenty of ownership opportunities because you create them. We're here now because we created an opportunity to where we're not just a consumer of the industry. We are now being able to be a producer of the industry, and it's only growing. So that would be my recommendation now, and why it's important to take a real close look at the gaming industry outside of just playing video games, but for your own interest and your own personal goals. Look at how the gaming industry can get yourself there, can get your child there, or if you don't know, find the resources that are out there because right now, low key, a lot of people are talking about it and making moves.
Mr. X?
Yes. So the I would say that the importance of building out a stock portfolio if you're a gamer or if you're a parent or mentor of young people, building out a stock portfolio for them or even yourself is that um, and this is kind of like really bigger than gaming. We live in a capitalist society, okay? And if you want to build any true wealth for yourself and your children, you have to become an investor, okay? And even if you start your own company, like what Dennis has done with the Long Island Gaming League, and he's the owner of the company, he is the investor of the Long Island Gaming League because he invested in himself to start the company. So even though Long Island Gaming League is not a publicly traded company, for the fact that any business person that starts a business, they have invested in themselves, right? It's just like if you go to school and you get a degree, have you done? You've invested yourself or invested money into your education, right? To better yourself, right? Educationally wise, which will what increase your ability to earn money, right? Income, right? Whether you be an employee at a company or you decide to take that education that you learned from college, university, trade school to go start your own business. So if you are serious about building wealth for yourself, you must become an investor. And one of the easiest ways to become an investor is to invest in the stock market. Okay. Because all you're doing is basically learning about the stock market, how it works, different companies, um, You're applying your knowledge to invest in companies that you understand. And if you're not currently investing, um, you can learn this information and within a very short period of time, open up your own brokerage account and start investing your money in these companies that you consume, like these gaming companies, right? And as their value starts to go up, your value starts to go up. So, as Dennis mentioned, with the example with the NFL, um, at the time the NFL probably started, only certain individuals had an opportunity to invest in some of these NFL teams, because they were they were privately held, right? Um, and maybe they were a family business. So even if you wanted to, you probably maybe couldn't even get a piece of ownership. With investing in the stock market, because the company's public, anyone can invest in it. There's no restrictions, there's no limitations. That doesn't matter, what you look like. Anyone can get ownership in any of these companies, and you could start to give your money an opportunity to grow. And by giving your money an opportunity to grow, especially in quality companies that you've done your homework on and research, you will see over time that your wealth um, has um, has increased, you know, and some of the companies that Dennis mentioned that have been around a very, very long time ago that have been publicly traded companies, had you invested in those companies um, early on in their inception, not to say that you still can't invest now, you still can't make money with them, but had you invested in those gaming companies many years ago, you probably would have hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for games that for that. So um this is one of the main reasons why you need to build out a stock market portfolio for yourself and your children.
No, that's good. I love the duality in the response that both of you presented because I think we're getting in, especially now, we're getting into a space with the current times that we live in, where while you're working, while you take whether it's you taking advantage of the gaming industry, right? Taking advantage of the concept of what we like to call gamification, where you're adding it to your business or your profession. Um, Having the opportunity to also invest, right? Hedging the market, building a portfolio on the back end while you're working on the front end, I think is a great strategy, and it's a very necessary one, especially because of inflation, especially because of the changing of the job market. Jobs are being cut due to technology and things of that nature. So having I mean, a lot of times we refer to it as multiple streams of income, or in this case, uh, having an investment backing along with, a job or profession is just a good formula to have for anybody that's out here working. So great response. I know we're kind of coming down to the wire, with this great workshop that we're doing here and just giving out a lot of great information. Really appreciate you guys for sharing your insights and your thoughts. Right? Uh, how would you define the both of you can answer whoever wants to go first. How would you define the importance, right, of networking and collaboration? Because on one end, a lot of times people think investing. I'm sitting in my room or a cubicle looking at a screen. I'm not talking to anybody. It's just me, myself, and the screen, Nerd Wallet, and YouTube, right? But there's a collective presence that can exist, and I'm sure you can touch base on that, Mr. X, and then also Dennis. How important is networking and collaboration when it comes to the space that we're in, the gaming industry, and whether it's finding jobs or creating opportunity? How would you say how important is it?
So
Whoever,
I think it's really important. One thing I like to say is the more who know, the more we grow, and that does start from the baseline of networking. Networking is extremely important because you can't identify a gamer, typically speaking, if you're walking down the street, right? You don't know who's who. However, gaming nowadays is such a universal thing. That's a perfect thing. If you go into a networking event, and you're not even a gamer, right? Maybe you've heard of a game, and you're going to a networking event to maybe close a business deal, get a job opportunity, find out where's a cool trip to go on vacation, and you could easily say, "Hey, have you ever heard about this game?" Instant conversation starter, because somebody's going to be either say, "No, I've never heard of it," or they're like, "Yeah, I've heard of it." But it gets you to start a conversation, and a lot of relationships are built over conversations in the esports and the gaming community. It's about relationships, right? You got to communicate with the gamer who's playing on the other side. You got to build a relationship, and relationships go beyond just gaming. They do truly build friendships, and with those friendships and that communication, you get to the credibility, right? Because you're playing with this person, what they're saying, it claims to be true. If they're able to introduce you to somebody, and it's not just about the game in terms of being introduced, it's being introduced to new opportunities, and that usually comes from conversations. So the more people visibly see you or hear you talking or have conversations with you in terms of networking, it just really opens up the doors to so many opportunities, because a closed mouth doesn't get fed, is what I've always heard growing up. And I believe that with networking, if you're not talking to somebody, you're not aware of the opportunities that they may have on the outside or right there that came to them that they can now pass on to you.
Nah, well put, Mr. X.
Yeah, so I would definitely say that being a part of a community in terms of investing in the stock market is definitely to your advantage, where you guys can you know um bounce ideas off of one another, in terms of potential companies that you want to invest in, and why you want to invest in those companies, and then also to ask questions about what's going on in the market, because the things change on a day-to-day basis, to actually help you to manage your portfolio. you know so just having that network is really really key, and that's one of the things that we've established with the course that we've put together, and the support that you get from actually signing up for the stock market investing for young gamers uh course. Yeah.
I appreciate that. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Community is important. If I could add any two things to that, number one, you got to get into the rooms. You never know.
Yeah.
It's the rooms you get into. You never know who you're going to meet. Some of some of the best opportunities that I've come across has been because of where I was at and who I connected and collaborated with. And I would say, you know, 80 to 90% of the things that I've done in life have done through collaboration. So you
Hmm.
got to get into the room. You never know who you're gonna meet, and there's a lot of energy in networking and collaboration, right? It can be tiring. Like I said, if you're that guy, you're in your room, you're looking at that screen, you're on macro trends, right? You know, I'd say it's a lot easier when there's five people in an investment club versus that one guy that's sitting in his room, up till 4 o'clock in the morning, and his blood's turning blue. Right? We don't need that. So essentially, it's very important to network. It's very important to collaborate. As you can see, this is a collaboration going on right here. A lot of great energy over the last couple years with Mr. X, the Long Island Gaming League and everything going on here. So yeah, which is an example of that. So really, really good, great response, gentlemen. So uh, as we kind of close things out, let's uh let's do two things. We got to make sure we pay all the proper bills and address all the proper channels. So number one, uh, are there any final thoughts that you might want to share about your product? Final thoughts you want to share about uh, the prospective industries that you're in or anything like that, and also where you can be found and how people can tap into your knowledge base and what you're offering. Whoever wants to go first.
Yeah, Dennis, you want to go?
All right, no, that's cool. I was going to look to you, but I'll go real quick. So again, the Esports Millionaire Mindset. It's a quick read.
Yeah.
It basically breaks down how to create events in the gaming space, whether you've never done it before or you're looking to do it. It's an entrepreneurial based book that is step by step guide from where to do your market research, how to do your market research, how to host events, the type of games, and the best thing of all, how to get sponsorships for your events because sponsorships typically make the event world go round. So it's a full book that gives you a breakdown. It's on Amazon. Just type in Esports Millionaire Mindset. We can be find. I can be found at LI Gaming League on any social media platforms, and I'm always open and available to answer and address any questions you have about the gaming industry, whether you want to get into it, whether your child is interested into it. The door is open here at the Long Island Gaming League, and I appreciate everybody who tuned in today.
And if I could add anything to that as well too, uh, most people are not aware of this, but the majority of the industry is centered around the events that are created, right? So if you can understand how to either be a part of, have a product that's involved in, or learn to facilitate your own event, there's a lot of opportunity you can, and then also, which Mr. X is going to talk about in a second, find a way to become your own bank and fund your own event, so you don't got to worry about, the handouts, if you will, right? So when you get the sponsorship dollars, it's on top of, in addition to, right? So, yes, the events make the world go around when it comes to this industry. So if you can learn about events, it's definitely a plus. Next to X, go right ahead, sir.
Yeah, so I would encourage those that have tuned into this webinar to definitely check out our stock market investing for young gamers um, course. It's recorded. You can watch it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at your leisure as a young gamer. Um, Also, as a young gamer's parent or mentor, you can watch it as a family. You can learn as a family, make money, as a family, because the information that's being taught in the course, you don't learn this information in your traditional school system. Okay. And the the URL is bit.ly backslash 43 YYYE3E. Okay. Um, so definitely, check out the course. And just to kind of give you an idea, you don't have to have any experience, with stock market investing by signing up with the course. In this session one, we give you a nice overview of the stock market and how it works. Session two, we talk about different strategies in more detail than what was discussed today on how to invest. We talk about how to open a brokerage account and different accounts that you can choose from. The benefits of investing in the stock market, long term, etc. So definitely, check out the course. And you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram if you have any questions about the course. And we're here to support you on your wealth building journey.
All right.
I
Yeah,
appreciate that. Okay,
yeah.
so in closing, we want to thank everybody for those that are live with us in the webinar. The course is available in the chat for those that are watching us on Facebook, YouTube. Uh, if you're seeing clips of this on TikTok, the link is somewhere either in the post or in the bio. And make sure wherever you see us at, like, comment, and subscribe. And we really appreciate it. We appreciate you for coming to hang out with us, over these last 30 minutes or so, just to get some good information, some understanding, and hopefully it starts you, gives you some perspective, and gives you some thought to see how you can take advantage of these different industries and vehicles that we're talking about, how you can get access to it, and how you can further your career or your journey, your entrepreneurial endeavors as a whole. So, once again, we thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you at our next event, webinar, or a workshop, and we'll see you soon.